Hi, Dustin Weinkoff here, product specialist with Agland and Lloydminster. Today we're going to go through our model year 20 R-Series sprayer product support video. So next we're going to go through the cabin controls, and we're first going to start with our hydro handle. So this hydro handle obviously looks a little bit different from previous machines. So model year 2018 and newer, this is what the hydro handle will look like. So starting, we've got our center rack up and down here. Left and right on this will be our foam markers if you had it equipped. Left and right boom tips up and down. Our boom indexing, left and right, so that will shut our sections off from the outward working inside. And then by pressing this button here with the two nozzles, that will enable all sections to come back on. We've got our auto tracking gauge here, boom tracking gauge, so that's our boom height control, master spray switch, our solution pump or our wet system emergency shutoff. Here we've got our headland management system. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Over on the side of our hydro handle here, we have a scroll wheel. So this is now what's going to change our target field cruise speed. So as we scroll that up and down, you are going to see those, your speed change here. And then while we're in the field, we have our selected speed set here. With the hydro handle all the way forward, the cruise control icon will illuminate and we'll be in our cruise control speed. So next we're going to go through our command arm here. So first we'll have this lock button right here. On every key cycle, this light will be illuminated. We can unlock it, and then on the display it will show us our configurable buttons. Now normally I like to have my fence row nozzles left and right configured on those. Moving down, we have our throttle here. Road lockout, so this will lock out all hydraulic functions while we're roading. Our tread adjust in and out, so our hydraulic tread can be adjusted any speed over 0.5 mile an hour up to 5 mile an hour, as well as we can have different presets set for that. Our ladder up and down. Diff lock here, so any model year 2020 and newer sprayers with the command drive transmission, your diff lock will always be illuminated. All other sprayers, if you need your traction control, that is what you'll use. And of course our park brake here. Moving up to the upper right, we have our solution pump here, on or off, our agitation, on or off, target rate 1, 2, and 3, and pressure-based spraying. So this replaces the old dial that some of you are used to. Fence row nozzles left and right. These 4 buttons here, these are for our nozzles. So if this one here is illuminated, this means our pulse width exact apply is enabled. This is for auto A/B switching for conventional spraying only, and then either A or B illuminated to which nozzles we are spraying out of. Our 2 cameras here, so if we have any cameras on the machine, we can press these to have them illuminate on the screen. Our HVAC and sound system are all moved down here so we can control everything here. Beacon, 4-way flashers, and of course our 2 options for field lighting. These last 2 roller dials here, this is how we can turn our boom sections on and off from the outside, working inwards on both the left and right side. Now going through the display with the Gen 4, there are numerous ways to get into different things, making it very user-friendly. On the bottom, starting with our shortcut bars, the very first one we're going to go through is our solution tank. And here we can find everything to do with our solution tank, our tank fill presets, our live tank level. We want to make sure that the target is always selected so we're reading off our actual tank level. Our low tank alarm, we can enter in here whichever level we want our tank alarm to go off at. For 2018 and newer sprayers, we have the auto agitation off feature. And here we can enable or disable it and type in which level we want our agitator to automatically shut off, as well as select our agitation level from low through high, which will also be displayed on our corner post. Our reductor level is selectable here as well. Next, If we click on our little nozzle, this takes us into the spray system. In here, we can select our target spray rates or pressure, our minimum spray pressure, spray off pressure, pressure relief, and our standard or low flow. Outside earlier, we talked about our orifice valve. This is where we will select it here in the display. Next, in here, auto prime and boom air purge. This is where we can go to prime our booms with new chemical. This will start spraying out of the whole boom and shutting sections from the inside working outwards to make sure there's no air left in the system. Boom air purge. This is what we will do before we do a rinse or leaving our sprayer before we do a water rinse, shutting it off for the weekend. By pressing start boom air purge and enabling our spray button, it will run for 2 minutes to blow the booms dry. Next is our rinse. Underneath our rinse type here, we have 4 options: boom only, solution system, solution tank only, or rinse tank transfer. Most of the time we'll be doing a full solution system rinse, but if for any need we just need to rinse our booms and fill full of water for the weekend when we're not spraying, we have the ability to do that. Solution system selected, number of rinse cycles, and fluid usage. If we have our fluid usage on low, we can do 3 continuous rinse cycles and have enough water. Once we have these all selected, our solution tank drained, and our booms blown out, we can hit start. Everything from here on in will be automated, and when we get to a rinse solution tank, at any time you can advance. It will go to the rinse boom. You then turn your solution pump on, select your master spray switch, and it will spray out until the pump is empty. Next here we go into our boom and nozzles, and here this is where we can see our boom sections, our spray mode set up for our exact apply, our boom height, and all other information. Our dry system if we have one on, our cameras, phone, radio, work lights, HVAC, and configurable buttons. One thing to note with the phone is if your radio is shut off, it will tell you that the feature is not installed or unavailable. By turning your radio on, it makes that feature come available. Next, we'll navigate the display using our main menu in the bottom right-hand corner. Through here, you'll see many of the same buttons as we did on our shortcut bars. Down at the bottom, for any sprayers with model year 2020 newer with command drive, you'll have a transmission icon here. In here, this is where we can go in. We can change our minimum spray engine speed for in-field, automatic motor manual, and in our advanced settings we can go in, change our acceleration, deceleration, and multifunction handle sensitivities. Next, we have our tread system. In here, this is where we can have presets. If we have a spray trailer that we need to go on, we can enter our preset number here, have it selected, and when we use our tread in and out, that's the determined width we will go to. Next, headland management system. We talked about this before with the button on the hydro handle. Master spray on, boom height control, target field crew speed, and lastly, if we had a GPS receiver installed, we would see auto track resume. You can change any of these features by clicking on the menu on the bottom and setting this. Now every time we hit HMS, all these features will make sure they're enabled and go to where they're set. Next, our control setup. This is where we can change our configurable buttons. On the side of our hydro handle earlier, we talked about having our fence row nozzles left and right, and this is where we can configure those options. Calibrations and procedures. For anything that we need to do for calibration wise, we will find that in here. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to set up our boom height control. By selecting it from our home page here, we can select canopy or ground mode, center frame control on or off, and we can enter our desired height here. Our raise and lower response. Typically we like to run our raise response higher than our lower so as the boom can quickly come up but doesn't come smashing down. Next are our advanced settings. Model year 2018 and newer sprayers will have a terrain type here, where we can select hilly or flat ground. It is recommended to always leave it on hilly for our conditions. Now we'll get our sprayer set up and ready to go spraying. Looking at the display here, we see our section flow. This will show our turn compensation. The blue bars will float up and down with our speed, pressure, and rate, as well as they will move side to side while we're turning. First, we want to select our target rates. By selecting this, we can type any predetermined rate we wish. And then select it down on the command arm, and we would see it change on the display. So looking at our exact apply tip here, this being forward, we can see that each of the turrets has a number on it. With either 1, 2, or 3 facing forward, you can spray out of the forward facing or rearward partner. A or B, 2 forward, A or B, 3 forward, A or B. And if we have 4, 5, or 6 facing forward on the sprayer, this will combine both solenoids to spray out of your forward facing tip. Whichever position we have our turret outside, we need to make sure we tell the display accordingly. Next, we're going to go in and set up our spray system. Right now, we're going to set up and make sure that we're pulsing. Click on Manual Setup, and in here we can select our spray mode A, B, or A plus B, as well as it can be selected down on the command arm, and both of them selected. We also need to make sure that our proper nozzles are selected and entered into the display. If you don't see yours select here, select all and find your tip. To make sure that we're pulsing, we need to make sure that our valve pulsing mode is set to auto. If it's in off, we will lose the light down here on the command arm, and that is your first indication that pulsing is not enabled. As well, you will see your blue bars up to the top. So if we ever see these blue bars up to the top, we know that our exact apply is not enabled. Turn it back to auto. Next, what we want to do is we want to set our spray pressure. We have our target rate selected here, and here we have the ability to set 2 different preset pressures. While we're spraying through the field, we can select either of these and change the pressure on the go. We could have a lower pressure for doing our headlands where we need a coarser droplet, and a higher pressure for in the field where we want a finer droplet, better coverage, and are less susceptible to drift. A few exact apply settings that we can go through. In our boom and nozzle page, we can go to our advanced setup, scroll down, and here we can actually name our tips. If we have multiple tips on the sprayer, we can add an item, we can give it a name, so we always remember what that specific tip is in that position, and if it's air induction or not. Do remember, air induction tips are not pulse width modulated recommended. Here we can select our fence row nozzle size, as well as we can boost up to 6 nozzles on the sprayer to spray 25% more rate or 25% less rate than the rest of the boom itself. As well, this is where we will turn on or turn off our turn compensation, and our nozzle turret lighting here, we want to leave it on. The lights will then flash as each nozzle pulses. Now that we have our spray system set up and we're ready to spray, next we'll get our documentation set up. From the bottom left-hand corner, we'll go to Setup, Location, and in here we can select our client farm and field. We already have ours pre-populated. If you don't, you can just type New Field enter your information, or send a setup file from the operations center. In here we can collect weather data. Next we're going to select a tank mix. New tank mix. We'll call this one pre-burn. Our target rate. Add a product. If you don't see your product in the list here, you can go new product. In here, this is the rate unit that our chemical is going on at. Liter an acre, 0.75, and it now knows exactly what our water volume rate is. Again, tank mixes can be created in the operations center and sent out as a setup file to the machine. We're now ready to spray. To set a guidance line, we first want to turn auto track on, then set track, new track in the bottom left hand corner, A+ heading, and enter a track name. Here we can enter our desired heading and then hit set A. Hit done. You now have 3 pieces of the pie. You can now hit your auto track resume or HMS on your hydro handler.